Ladies and gentlemen, it is your host, Andre Norman, the president of Second Chance University, and I am back, like I always tell you I'll be, and today we are live in Tempe, Arizona. You know what I'm saying? It's still 100 degrees out here, man, so shout out to all my people in Arizona DOC, whatever kind of jail you in, we out here with you. And today, we have a guest. Would you like to introduce yourself, sir?
Absolutely. So my name is Khalil Rushdan. I'm someone who's directly impacted by incarceration. And, it's an honor to be here, Andre, to, be able to share my stories and experiences, here in Arizona. So thank you for having me.
Did you grow up in Arizona? Are you from here?
No, so I came to Arizona about 1991, 92, somewhere up in there, but I'm from Southern California, born and raised in Riverside. By way of Texas, my family migrated from Texas to Corcoran, California, which is Central
Valley. Prison
there.
Yeah. So you live down the street from the prison?
Yeah. And that's the whole thing. We farmers. I tell people, man, no matter what or how I grew up, we were farmers, Bastrop, Austin, Texas, moved to Corcoran.
What were y'all growing?
Well, my grandfather went from picking cotton to growing cotton. So he before I was born, he had a whole bunch of land in Corcoran. And so everybody else, my mom married into...
They grew cotton in California?
Cotton. Yeah, they grew cotton in Arizona. I didn't even know until I got here. All the way up until they started building warehouses and
I thought that was a down south thing.
Nah. I'm because I stayed in Goodyear when I moved here, moved back out here, and driving down the street, man, and see cotton in the breeze flying across the road. I'm like, what? I said, man, let me get out and make me a sweatshirt. No. So yeah, Corcoran, California, went from, picking cotton to growing cotton. I had 12 aunts and uncles. So
the whole family out there.
Man, hey, granddaddy was awesome. But, came here to get away from the gangs. Mom sent me out here to stay with a brother.
What do you mean get away from the gangs?
Yeah.
You bumped into some gang life?
Well, down in Southern California, that 80s, what was I, about 13 when I ran away from home, just...
Where you run away to?
Just the streets. That's the thing. Just not
So, 13, you run away. You out in the street. Then your mom's like snatch you up. She shoot you down here to Arizona to live with a relative.
Yeah. So just getting in trouble at home, in and out of juvenile hall. Nothing serious, but most of it, because we grew up in poverty. We was poor, and me. Even till today, I look back and I tell people, they say, well, damn, you had a single parent, because I never met my dad, and they say, you had a single parent. And I said, well, damn, I knew right from wrong. I just couldn't control my emotions,
Right.
And that was the piece that, the struggling, the struggle to have food, and clothes and stuff like that, going into junior high and getting clowned, that peer pressure, and so me running away was really where cats that I was calling OG was more predatory, like, wait a minute, they had us doing all the things our parents didn't want us to do.
For sure.
Hey, at 13, I shouldn't have been driving cars and
doing stuff.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Doing stuff.
Yeah. Doing all type of stuff. But now,
But you come to Arizona.
I come to Arizona, and where I thought I was getting away from certain
lifestyle.
stuff. Right. Come out here, and what I didn't know was like this was the hub. This was the hub. It was more things out here to get into than anything. And so
there's a saying we have. Wherever you go, you go.
Yeah.
So you can be an addict. I can take you from Boston, Massachusetts, put you on a bus to Kansas City, Missouri. You'll get off, you'll find addicts.
Absolutely.
I can put you on another bus and send you to Corpus Christi, Texas. You'll find the addicts.
Absolutely.
If you're a drinker, I can take you from Miami, bring you to Seattle, Washington. you'll find the bar.
You're gonna find it.
If you're a card player, if you're a gambler, you're gonna find the card game.
Yep.
So there are good people everywhere. There are bad people everywhere. And it's your type of vice, wherever you get off the plane at.
Yep. And so, coming here, getting back into the mix, had family members into the mix, introduced me to, folks who had everything, and so my thing of playing it smart was kind of always be a middleman. Not sell, not buy, but
intro.
Yeah, make the intro.
That's the case too.
Yeah.
You found that out.
Well, I found that out, and so one day put two parties together.
And went bad.
Yeah, and it went bad. So at the same time, didn't know anything about the law, and so end up getting charged with the first-degree felony murder, and so that felony murder.
So you're in court.
Mm-hmm.
You're facing a first-degree felony.
Yep.
And you go to trial.
And I go to trial.
And you're thinking you're going to beat it because you got nothing to do with it.
Oh, yeah.
So you're like, I got this.
Yeah.
You're going to be Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
Murder is the case that
Right.
they gave me.
Well,
Was you going to start a rap career?
Nah, I wouldn't go. Nah. But
at the end of the trial, what did the jury say?
Guilty.
So when the jury comes back and says guilty,
yep,
for a crime you ain't got nothing to do with it, how did you feel?
I mean, it dusted and disgusted. It was shocking, because like, wait a minute, I'm sitting here where my attorney was like, yeah, you should be going home. But he didn't mean,
Oops.
Yeah, 20, yeah, he said you should be going home in April, but he didn't mean like April of 2025, because this was 1997. So it was like, I was shocked. And then everything started playing back in my head, and that initial shock, when I went back to the jail, then I went back for sentencing.
So when you walk into court you're back at the jail, you just got found guilty of first-degree murder.
Yep.
You're sitting at the jail thinking what?
Man, couldn't eat, couldn't do anything. Like, how could this happen?
Question: how serious did you take your case before the guilty verdict?
Well, I didn't. I don't even want to say I didn't take it serious. It was just a lot of ignorance.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
You didn't put the effort. You was just in your mind, I'm gonna beat this.
Right. I got a mouthpiece. He's promising me, oh, don't worry about it.
So you playing cards or dominoes down the counter.
Hey, exactly. But that's where I say, I didn't even know what the term dump truck meant until I get back to the jail, and some of the older cats was like, yeah, you had a dump truck attorney. He dump trucked you. So I didn't, outside of playing dominoes, when somebody dump truck you, or you playing with a dump truck, I didn't even know what that term meant when it came to an attorney. And so,
did you play dominoes after your jury verdict?
Man, I wasn't trying to play nothing. I couldn't even eat. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like, I'm going to prison in a whole nother state when my family is from California.
So when you go back for sentencing, do you already know? I mean, I know in Massachusetts, the sentence for first-degree murder is natural life. What is it here in Arizona?
Well, it's under felony murder. It's 25 or natural.
Right.
Now, in some instances, folks were getting sentenced to death, but courts say, hey, under the felony murder rule, it's mostly the natural life or 25.
So you're looking at either natural or 25.
Yep. And even then, I didn't even know, because I said, well, damn, if this went wrong,
they might jack you up to the death sentence.
Right. So it was just, I was 22 and ignorant to a lot of things, and I don't care what people say. It's scary because it was uncharted territory. You see what I'm saying? Never gone through anything like this. And then my family was already in kind of like turmoil, or didn't have a lot of support. Half of them was saying, he probably did it. Yeah. He was always in trouble, or, and it was just a whole bunch of BS. And so going through that, it was alone. I was alone. You know, I was alone. And it really, it was an eye opener to hit the yard. So here you have central unit, which is the walls. That's where they send.
What was the sentence?
I got a life without the possibility of parole for 25 years. But see, even now today, I call myself, I'm blessed and lucky, and I don't believe in luck. And so people, they be like, what do you mean by that? And when I say blessed and lucky, because there's a battle going on today. Arizona abolished parole, but they were still sentencing people to parole. I wish I could make it up. So a lot of people...
They eliminated parole from the system.
Right.
But they're giving people 25 to life with parole.
With parole.
But it doesn't exist.
That doesn't exist. And so now there's a whole bunch of cases.
They got to be resentenced.
There's a fight now going on because they're looking at the minute entries to see if the intent was to give a person parole. It's some crazy stuff.
It's just a lot. It's politics
drama,
now.
Right? It's politics. Instead of them saying, "Hey, we were wrong. Let's go back." You know,
that's how we would look. That's how we look at it.
Right.
Because we want to go home.
Right.
Y'all are wrong. Just own that.
Right. Own that. You know.
Like,
but
no, some people were meant to go home. Some people they didn't mean to go home.
Absolutely.
So you don't know who's who.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to be on the left side of the line.
Right. And so now, I go into central unit, the walls, where they so-called the worst of the worst, and you know, I'm going in at age of 22, and you get there, the bus pulls up, the gate shut behind you, and immediately you looking out the window, and it's like 20-foot walls. You can't see outside of them walls. So you got a guy up there on the gun tower. You know, you get off that bus, you got all your stuff, you walking across the yard, and then, you know, people immediately stop. The whole yard stopped to see who coming in, the new guys.
Right.
You know, and so
straight out the movies.
Straight at the movies. But I met some of the best brothers, you know, and I say this because at that time we still had law libraries, there was protocol, you had literature. So I get to the yard and you know, brothers handed me a care packet with a stack of books. You know, hey, you know, dig into this, and this. Some of these brothers were studying 2-3 different languages. You know, Swahili, Arabic, you know, Mandarin, all type.
Tú no hablas otras cosas, mi hermano. Porque yo no sabía eso.
It's
Dímelo. Tú no sabes. Mi hermano, tú sabes, tu hermano tiene 2 cosas, 3 cosas. Alemán, español, francés, inglés.
Yeah.
Oh, you playing.
Yeah, and so I'm saying this.
Yeah, flashback.
Well, and there was, you know, it was respect.
Yes.
It was a whole different culture.
Different culture.
And so you know, as my anxiety started to come down, I'm a ball player. I'm an athlete. So I'm like, okay, I'm running out there,
play some hoops,
playing hoop, doing them on the court, you know. And then one of the brothers, brother named Mustafa, he was like, man. He said, if you don't get up off that court,
we're going to have an issue.
Yeah, get in this law library. And so when I got in that law library, that's when a lot of the brothers was like, man, you've been messed over. You've been messed over. So I'm like, huh? They said, that brother right there, that brother. There's like 10 brothers in the law library who had the same prosecutor that got railroaded.
Prosecutor or the DA or both?
No, so prosecutors, well, county attorneys is the equivalent of a DA.
No.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, but the prosecutor can do what it wants, but your lawyer dump trucked you. So
yeah.
Did they just...
Well, it was, but it was more of the prosecutor. Now the attorney, he was ineffective because he should have caught a lot of this. But any attorney that's not fighting for you, that's a whole nother problem. You see what I'm saying? And so when they got to pointing things out, in the bigger scheme, because there was 2 brothers that was there who were actually railroaded by the same prosecutor onto death row, and their cases was overturned. So they sitting in the law library now. They trying to get free. Yeah, they came off death row, but you know,
trying to go home.
They trying to go home. So it just looking at that, I'm like, wait a minute, ain't nobody coming for me. I got to come for myself. I got to step up. And so I see now where the brother was aggressive with me, man, get you off that court. You know, where he was aggressive, his intentions was good. Like, stay focused if you want to go home.
So you hit the law library for, how long did it take you to overturn your case?
15 and a half years. 15 and a half years of a life sentence of, 25 life.
With 25 to life when the parole board doesn't exist anymore for you.
Exactly.
So you had a life sentence.
Which is, I had a life sentence.
So 15 years of fighting. Did you ever get discouraged?
Yeah. There was times I wanted to give up. I when I went in, because mind you, one of the things I didn't bring up, my daughter was 6. I left a 6-year-old behind, and so she was 6 when I went in, and when I come home, she 22, and I got a granddaughter the same age as her when I went in. And so, that's triggering, you know what I'm saying? And so...
What was the issue you overturned your case on?
Prosecutorial misconduct and vindictiveness. So basically what they did was they introduced a lot of false evidence. They had my ex-girlfriend testify, come in and lie, talking about I told her I committed this crime, never did that. The vindictive piece, because I turned over all my weapons, everything. Hey, this ain't me. And this is what I would tell people, hey, when you think you helping yourself, don't talk to the police. Because when you're not fitting in...
Everything you can say
right.
will be used against you. Come on.
In a court of law. Right.
You didn't hear that before.
No, hold
on, bro. Everything you say
absolutely
can and will be used against you in a court of law.
Absolutely.
You thought that didn't apply?
Well, now because when you didn't do something right, it's not. Listen, but now I know
everything you say. Didn't say guilty or innocent.
Right.
Anything you say will be used against you in the court of law.
Absolutely.
You found out the hard way.
Yeah, I found out the hard way. It doesn't matter, and that's why I say when you think you helping yourself,
get a lawyer.
Yeah.
Get a good lawyer.
Yep. And so, the prosecutorial misconduct and vindictiveness, that's what eventually overturned, but it took a federal judge to do it because the state don't even acknowledge wrongful convictions here.
So you go to the feds, they overturn your case.
Yep.
How long from the overturn did you walk out?
It took another 2 years.
You overturned
2 years.
Yeah. It still took 2 more years to get out.
It took 2 years for that process to take place.
Appeals, double appeals, triple appeals, back and forth. And they finally hit the gavel and said it's a wrap.
Yeah. And I walked out December 20th, 2011, 2 days before my birthday. And I'm sitting on the yard and I didn't even know because instead of the judge, so it went to a magistrate. Magistrate conducted the evidentiary hearing, made the recommendations. It went to the federal judge to sign off. Well, when he took the recommendations in, prosecutorial misconduct is what they call fundamental error. They don't get another opportunity to bring the charge. Right. But this judge gave them 180 days to try to bring the charges. So now I'm just in prison marinating, and so the state never brought the charges.
So and 180, you go out.
Right. So it was down to about 150. And so my mom, I think I was on year 11 or 12 when I get that letter that mom was diagnosed with cancer. My mom is older. So when I got the evidentiary hearing, it was like 2009. It was about the end of 2009. And when you say defeated, I knew if something happened to my mom, I wasn't going to be able to see her. With my charges, they wasn't going to let me go to a California funeral.
No, you ain't going to California funeral.
So at the end of the day, I go to my attorney and I'm just like, look, just tell him give me a plea for some time served.
Let me go.
Let me go. So I was supposed to take a drug charge or whatever, get time served,
And go.
and then go. Well, I go back for that hearing, and at the time I was pissed, but the judge refused
To let you do
to accept it because the basis for the plea was ineffective assistance of counsel, and the judge seen it, and he said no. He has an evidentiary hearing on prosecutorial misconduct and vindictiveness. So the only way I'm going to accept this plea is if it's under the premise of prosecutorial misconduct and vindictiveness. And so that hearing fell apart.
How long did you end up saying after that?
Well, that was after that 2009. That was another 2.5 years, because that was like
you could have went home then.
Right, I could have went home.
If he had accepted the plea, you'd have walked out the door.
Right.
Judge was like, nah, we'll fix this.
Nah.
You had to sit for another 2.5 years.
Yeah. And so, I was willing to once again, take this plea.
See mom.
To see my mom. And there's things going on around us that we would never be able to comprehend. So at that time, I was just like, damn. So I remember my attorney coming, and she said, hey, she visited me at the jail, and she said, we're going to go to the evidentiary hearing, and we're going to win. And that's what we did. We went to the evidentiary hearing 6 months later, and we won. But then the process. I told you. So all this time, I'm writing my mom, and this is probably the best relationship we had, because, there was tension with me growing up, running away, 13. I always blamed her for the situations we were in. But I'm in prison, and I just kept telling myself, hey, I want to apologize to her face to face. I gotta come home. And so we talk about that, because mom's raised me better than what I just put on display. My mom wasn't about no drugs, alcohol, none of that. She didn't do none of that. And so what I put on display was not a representative or reflection of our family, and so I just kept saying, man, I want to get home so I can apologize to her. And Amy, my attorney, she just filed a motion to the judge, like, look, he's been through a lot. His family, his mom was diagnosed with cancer. It's just kind of like an emotional plea to this judge. And so never in a million years, I didn't even know about it. But, talking to my attorney, she was like, she just shot her shot. There was, I don't want to say there was no legal basis to the motion, but, the holidays and his birthday's coming up.
Hurricane Carla.
Cancer. Right.
Hurricane
right.
Carla.
So
we make a movie. He's like, listen, they're like, if you lose this hearing, it's gone forever. Right. He's like, man, listen, let me go.
Man, and when I tell you, I'm on that yard, and I was what was I doing? I was the visitation porter. And they called me up, and they like, hey, we got to get you down to Complex Medical. I mean, the complex. That's where they do all your processing out. And I'm like, what's going on? Well, and this officer was breathing hard, and I'm like, damn, they're gonna page to me. They done filed some, I'm thinking negative. That's the whole thing. You when you in those situations, you think negative and then pray for the best. And so I'm on that yard, and they like, hey, we need to get your photos and all of this. And I'm like, man, the sheriff gonna be waiting on me at the gate to take me back, because they're gonna retry me. And I kept trying to fish the officer for information. And he was like, I don't know. They just told me to get you down here. So on the way back to the yard, I guess over the radio, he says, I need to take you up here to the deputy warden's office. And I'm like, damn, that's where they're going to arrest me at.
It's all bad.
You know, it's all bad. So I get up there, and because I was the visitation porter, you know, the deputy warden says, hey, you know, I just got this email to get you processed out. You going home? And I'm like, what? You know, I'm going home. Now, what you just said, I'm not moving without hearing it from my attorney. And so, man, I'm up there, and I'm looking at the deputy warden like, you know, BS. You ain't. And she's like, no, we just got the email to get you processed out. You going home? And she turns her screen and says, look. So I'm like, man, I still don't believe her.
Scam.
Right. So, she said, hurry up and get your stuff so we can get you out of here. So I go back to my building, and I'm like, man, I ain't going nowhere until I talk to my attorney now. So
I want to reach over and feel your forehead, right?
So I
does the word institutionalize mean anything to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Look,
I talk about it all the time. I talk, man, when it's time to go home. Man, look, when it's time to go home, and nobody, you can't put together a plan that you can implement in real time. Doesn't matter. And so when it's time to go home, you really like, damn,
the fear kicks in.
Yeah. Who, me? And so I hung out. I was supposed to, it took an hour.
Get you
Because I'm like, man, my CO3, let me call my attorney. He's like, well, I got somebody in here. I'm like, dude, they telling me I'm going home. And I ain't heard it from my attorney. So he lets me come in and make this call. And I get in contact with her, and she's like, what's going on? I said, they telling me I'm going home. So
she said, why are you still there?
What? So, no, she said, what? So I hear her typing. And then I hear her say, oh, my God. I'm like, what? She said, the judge granted my motion. So she never told me about the motion because what happened the first time.
Right.
And I didn't get released. So she was like, I didn't want to, you know, get your hopes up high and you know. So she said, yeah, you're going home, bro. She said, you're going home. And I'm like, okay.
Nah.
So now,
how does this work?
Now I go back to the run, and everybody's, you know, because everybody, and I say this, you know, when you live with people, they become your family, right? And so I come back to the run, everybody's like throwing their hands, what's up? Waiting on the news, and I'm just like, hold on. I went to the left, because you got to run, and there's bathrooms on the left. I went to the left, walked in the shower, closed the curtain, and was in there about 5 minutes crying, you know, that it really happened, or I was really going home. And so there was still that fear, man, it ain't real till I get down the road,
right?
Get far away from here, right?
So they change their mind.
So I mean, one thing I'll never forget, man, is just leaving. And I didn't realize that I was that beacon of hope, which is why I do a lot of the work I do now, because when my case got overturned, I walked out of there, man, it was my essay partners, it was skinheads, it was people who did time coming up, hugging me, you know, on my way out the gate. And then, you know, that survivor's guilt kicks in, because it's like, well, damn, you know, I'm gone, but you still here. And so I go out, and attorneys is waiting on me to give me a ride. And they wanted to stop and take pictures down the road, and we laughed about it. I'm like, man, if you don't, man, let me put this. I just stepped on their foot.
Like, let's take a picture. I'm like, maybe better get in the car. Let's go.
No, and you know, just that experience of people I didn't even know coming to pick me up, until my attorney, because she was in California, so I couldn't get home to my sisters because I didn't have no ID or nothing. So she rented a car, picked me up, had to come drive to get me. And so I ended up staying at one of the other attorneys here. And you know, that first night of getting out, just flipping through channels, not realizing it's like 600 channels. and right, and I can't watch nothing because I'm just like, well, damn, how many HBOs is it? And, you know,
There's only one when you went away.
Right, it was
Like
only
10 of
one,
them.
right? And you probably had to. I think we had to fix the antenna to get that or whatever if you didn't have the cable.
ESPN 15. You're like, yo,
Right. So so I say this because like I get out and it's just so unreal and so I'm transitioning, new world, and I tell people it's like getting in a time machine, traveling 15 and a half years into the future. But then 8 months after I get out, my mom passed, you know, and it still shake me till today because, I mean, I crowd my schedule to deal with it because I, you know, that whole time I'm in there, mom's just like, oh, I'm just waiting on you to get home. I'm waiting on you to get home. And I'm thinking, so we can kick it. You know, now we got this newfound friendship, but now she had stopped chemo when I was released. She stopped chemo. And so 8 months after she passed, and so the doctor couldn't tell us. And, you know, that's what fuels my fight and my energy, you know, because she never had an opportunity to see me do, you know, she always told me, you smart, but you use your knowledge for bullshit. That's what she would tell me. She said, she would call me out. You real smart, but you're always using it for BS.
Did she ever tell you if you took 10% of your energy, boy,
Yeah,
and put it to something good,
all that.
you turn the world upside down?
All that.
That's my mom's favorite saying.
And so, you know, and just sitting back and saying, you know what, like, I smile because I get up early, go to sleep early, but, you know, I just feel her like she looking on my shoulder. You know, deal with people right. That's what she always used to say. Even I had friends she didn't even like. That boy is trouble, but go in there and fix you a plate. After you eat, get up out of here. You know, and you know, just straightforward, cared. That's what I put into my work. You know.
So for all the brothers that you did time with, that you said you're the beacon of hope for,
Yeah.
they're gonna be watching this. This is gonna play in Arizona DOC. So all the facilities that you were in, all the brothers, they would walk me out talking about, yo, man, he was here with us. But you, even though they see you on TV from time to time, they see you in the paper from time to time, they might even see you come through on a tour from time to time. Now they sit in their cell,
absolutely,
holding the tablet. That's my man.
Yeah. And I, you know, from Central Unit to Cats Locked Down, I got people in Tucson, man. I don't see the Manzanita, Santa Rita, you know, Yuma, Lewis, you know, and a lot of yards and change, but all over the state. You know, my whole thing is we have to address the conditions of confinement, and they not alone. And so, you know, part of me still wake up in prison. That's something, you know, that 15 and a half years of that gap, it ain't gonna be nothing to fill it. You know, I can heal, I can develop coping mechanisms, but you know, the word institutionalized and how I explain it to people mean I came up with a game plan to survive an abnormal environment at the time, you know, because nothing normal about prison. We come up with that game plan to normalize it, but once we release, how do we heal? How do I turn certain switches on, certain switches off? And so there's a part of me, because one of my partners is coming, he just came up on his 32nd year flat. At some point he will be released, but how do I give him the same experience, or anybody coming out, that I got? I had a village.
Now you are the village.
Now I am the village. And so the attorneys that I didn't know that stopped and said, well, damn, let me care enough about him to go pick him up. Let me put him in a position where he can safely have housing. Let me give him support and resources. Doesn't matter. He's in our care now. And so when folks come out, it's the same thing. How can I be judgmental when people took me in and showed me love and supported me? And
How long you been home for now?
I've been home 13 years.
Now, in the 13 years, just like some of the highlights. And you told me you was on the governor's commission.
Oh man.
For what was the name of the what was that?
The Independent Prison Oversight. It was
No, you went from being in prison
Yeah.
to the governor appointing you to the oversight committee.
Yep.
What other
Oversight.
give us? I want you to give some of the highlights, not the details.
Yeah,
but
just some of the
because people I want them to know that you can go from central booking to being wrongly convicted to something to shoot for.
Absolutely. So I'll start with the recent. I was appointed to the Governor's Independent Prison Oversight Commission to chair it or co-chair it with the governor. I'm on the Maricopa County Commission for Trial Court Appointments. I chair Mountain Park Health Clinics. I was the organizing director with the ACLU of Arizona, who had the lawsuit for the prison. I've been with Sage Counseling as a transitional case manager for like 9 years. I mean, you name it, I've done it. And so the biggest part of it is really all the things that folks gonna need, housing and things like that. How do I influence a systemic change? How do I get in there? I can throw rocks and I can advocate for change, but how do I get in there? So, and then I just incorporated my nonprofit, AZ Village Network. We helping folks get their rights restored, sealing the records. If they have issues with their driver's license, we either referring them out or we helping them get their driver's license so they can get into different programs, CDL. I do a lot of program consulting, and especially with the Department of Corrections. If I'm gonna throw a rock at them, then when it's time to do the work, hey, I gotta show up. So if they say, well, we serious about program changes, okay, I'm there. But at any time they're not, then hey, I'm thinking about those individuals who are on the yard and how people shouldn't be afraid to empower them. So we're just a platform.
To the guy who just got off the bus, who, whether he was wrongly convicted, innocent, or just caught a lot of time. He went to trial on blue trial. But he's athletic and he's scared. So he's gonna go out and he's trying to show people I fit in basketball quarters. I did that first year I was on the ball court. Because I couldn't ball, but I could jump. I say that. I was out there anyway, nonetheless. But for that guy who's out on the court right now, fresh off the bus, what's your message for him?
So my message is first off, just slow down. Just slow down and get your bearings, okay? Gonna come out with a lot of anxiety, and that's natural. Uncharted territory, new scenery, you're gonna be triggered. There's gonna be a lot of triggers from family, because you may have, your kid probably was 2 years old, taking a couple bites out of a piece of chicken, now they're eating whole chickens, Those are the type of things that will shoot that anxiety to the roof. I got folks taking showers with their shower shoes on. My biggest advice is mental health. And so what I didn't know at the time was I needed to slow down and decompress. I needed to bring that anxiety down. Because we know you can shoot your free throws, but hey, it's clutch time. You in your own head. And that's where, having that trust or just open lines of communication, even before you get to the trust, just open up lines of communication, and just take your time. Because another thing I did was I was out of anxiety and fear, I attached myself to a woman. She wasn't the right woman for me. You know what I mean? I was open. Hey, I just got out of prison. So we start looking for that codependency sometimes, and it may not be the right fit. So, for someone walking out, if you in Arizona, man, hit us up, AZ Village Network, because we not going to be judgmental. We're going to provide the support and the resources, for those who want to move forward.
Now, the other piece is, shout out to all my folks in AZ. I'm saying nothing but love. But this broadcast is going to go to AZ and beyond. Okay. You got New York State watching you.
That's what's up.
We got Rikers Island tapping in. We got Louisiana, all my brothers in Angola tapping in.
That's what's
got
up.
My brothers down in Florida tapping in. We got Massachusetts, my hometown, South Bay, Nashville Street tapping in. I think Bill Rick is with us too, but the whole state of Massachusetts.
That's what's up.
You know what I'm saying? We got, my guys out in Michigan tapping in. We got Nevada. We got Texas. Shout out to Texas. You know what I'm saying? Texas is happening. Harris County, we see y'all. We got tons of county jails across the country. You know what I'm saying? We got Oklahoma tapping in. We got Nevada tapping in. We got Washington State tapping in.
Julius, Oklahoma.
Yeah. Listen, we got people from across the country who are right now, Alabama. I don't know if I said y'all, but I give y'all a shout out again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They sitting here like, yo, this brother made it.
Yeah.
No, I need you to understand this.
No.
You're here, and I wanted you here so they can see someone who made it.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's huge, because no matter, as I got out and I started traveling, and then even going to DC, addressing the felony drug ban, for SNAP benefits, things like that, trying to eliminate it, eliminate the felony drug ban so folks can gain access to food stamps. But I've gone across this country, and I know things can get territorial, but I see myself in a lot of individuals, and vice versa. It's like, wait a minute, story after story, and really opening up those lines of communication, talking to people. I don't get into that territorial stuff because I'm like, wait a minute, these brothers in New York or these brothers down south, they going through the same thing. They may call it something different, but it's the same thing. Same thing across this country.
While you're out here fighting in real time for people to get whatever rights or leg up or situation better, what do you need them to be doing inside while you're out here fighting?
I need them to get their head right.
No, they're right there.
I need y'all to, one, start opening up lines of communication with your family, because I'm organizing votes and dollars. You may not have your rights restored, but your people got power. If your people, if they're casting their votes for a certain individual, hold them accountable. But we have to start moving these policies, because we're still dealing with a punitive system, no matter how good they market these second chance this, second chance that. No matter how good they market it, we have to start moving these policies. And just because you incarcerated on that yard, you still have power. Nobody have the right to talk down to you. Nobody should be treating you less than a person. So, man, connect with us, and it's people coming together. Family members, we work with family members. How do you advocate for your loved one while they inside? That's what we can do. And don't sit there and think, well, I ain't got no power. I'm behind the ball. Nah, the most powerful individuals is sitting behind bars. But the individual, I say this all the time, the cure for cancer might be sitting in a cell. But if there's no lines of communication, we'll never know.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is your host, Andre Norman, president of Second Chance University.
Man,
Listen, thank you for coming through.
appreciate you.
Man,
Appreciate you hitting me up,
I believe that they need to hear messages, because there's so many people inside who are either overly charged, wrongly convicted, innocent. People ask me all the time, yo, Dre, I'm wrongly convicted, I'm innocent. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a lawyer in that sense, but so to have you come on and give them hope that, you know something, it took you 15 and a half.
Keep fighting.
But you kept fighting.
Keep fighting. Yep. Hit your innocence projects. If they don't take your case, man, hit attorneys up. Attorneys do pro bono work, Hit them up. It just keeps
Did you learn the law yourself?
Yeah. Very instrumental. That's why I said, it got to a point where I said, man, I gotta help myself. Ain't nobody coming for me. And so through that, me learning and advocating, I reached out to our Arizona Justice Project here, which is our version of the Innocence Project. And they looked and they took the case.
So how helpful was it that you understood the law when you reached out to them?
200%. Because now we can communicate. And the reason being is a lot of attorneys, they won't break things down into layman's terms. They're going to talk like attorneys. But when you can comprehend, you participate in your own defense.
So versus them adopting you, they can work with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's vital. And that's the key to all of this, communication.
So step one, get back into school, get your GED. Not only your GED around reading and writing, but make sure you focus on comprehension. So when you do get a lawyer, you can communicate. Then you go to the law library or get on the tablet.
Absolutely.
And hit it up. You know what I'm saying? You got to get your game up, man. Nobody's coming to just adopt you.
Yeah.
You got to meet them halfway.
And then the other thing, one thing I love about the Justice Project here, they look at wrongful convictions and what they call manifest injustices. It was an individual who was just sentenced. We went to the Executive Board of Clemency to speak on his behalf. 292 years for burglaries, nonviolent, non-dangerous offenses.
How much?
292 years.
Whose house did he break in?
Man, hey,
listen. I want to know neighbor because I don't want to drive through that piece.
But it was in one of the smaller little counties up north.
He was in the wrong county.
Yeah, he was in the wrong county.
1000% the wrong county.
But I say this because that's what they call a manifest injustice. And I say, like, policies change. So for individuals who may be sitting there and you've exhausted all your court, it ain't over. Because some cats be like, well, and I was on the yard. Some cat, man, I ain't got nothing to lose. Yeah, you always got something to lose. And so down the road, policies can change. That might help your situation out.
It wasn't like 5-6 years ago, they overturned juvenile lifers.
Right.
So for like 30 forever, it was juvenile lifer, you was just done.
Yeah.
And then one day, boom, every juvenile lifer in the country got a shot.
Right. But those individuals I knew who went in as a juvenile lifer
and
gave up, wild out, killed somebody as an adult.
Now they're stuck.
Now you're stuck. And that's why I say, it just, you can't give up on yourself. If anything, as much ignorant stuff I fought for and was willing to put my life on the line for, I said, man, I'm going to put all that energy to betting on me. Let me put that into me investing in myself. I put my life on the line for BS, man. Let me put my life on the line for me. And that's just the reality of all this. So no matter where you guys are at, man, just come together and even open up lines of communication. Somebody, Mustafa was from New York in an Arizona prison.
You from California in Arizona prison.
Yeah. And just that exchange, because we all scientists in our own right. But when we go through that trial and error or that lived experience and we open up the lines of communication, that brother taught me law because whoever taught him law in New York, man. But
hold on. Shout out to Paul Simmons and Ma D, who taught me law. I mean, there's always old heads in the library that'll teach you.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're going to try to hustle you out a couple noodles or something, right? But it's okay. Listen, they got to eat too.
Absolutely.
But,
absolutely. But well worth it.
Oh, I'm free.
Yeah, absolutely.
You free.
Yeah.
I'll give you 100 more noodles.
Yeah. Yeah.
But ladies and gentlemen, today's a great day. We just want to say, listen, wherever you are, whatever unit you on, whatever situation you in, it's never over till it's over.
Absolutely.
And it's never over until you give up. So if you don't give up, that means it's never over. And don't give in to prison world, prison culture, because you didn't come up in the prison culture and you don't want to spend the rest of your life in prison culture. So don't let prison culture dominate your thinking. Stop thinking about where you want to be, where you want to be. Like, oh, I want to live in a nice neighborhood. I want to have a nice car. I want a wife and the kids. Then act like that now. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be like, well, I'm going to thug it out and I'm going to wild it out. And that's what you're going to take outside the gate. Whoever you are now is going to be the person that walks outside that gate. So make the person that you want to be later now, and you live your way into it. So until the next time, Second Chance University, we got a brand new professor for you. Hopefully it was helpful. Peace out.